Super Bowl! As we all know, it was the Baltimore Ravens versus the San Francisco 49ers and Colin Kaepernick. Also known as the blackout game for some people, and the also Beyonce booty shaking halftime show.
I am incredibly jealous of KISW as the men's room.
Well, you also got to remember that
there.
Well, you also got to remember that Miles and Thrill are Baltimore Ravens fans.
Yeah, but still, they were there.
They were there. I mean, it's one of those things where everybody wants to go see a Super Bowl. They happen to want to go see a Super Bowl that their team is playing. They got to do both.
Right. Well, first, let's review our picks. You had Green Bay.
Yeah, Green Bay
over New England.
Yes.
So,
neither one of those teams made it to the Super Bowl.
No.
So, dummy.
Now, I look dumb, but I look really smart, too.
Right.
Because I picked the Ravens to win the Super Bowl at the beginning of the season.
Mm-hmm.
They won. But I had them beating the Philadelphia Eagles. Boom, boom, boom. I was actually really surprised that Philadelphia was that. I was not expecting them to be.
And it was just that it was the final nail in the coffin for Andy Reid.
Which is unfortunate because he's a good coach.
No, he's a good coach. I mean, he has the season. He has the seasons that he had, and in any other for any other team, he's a legend.
That is true. That is true. But for the actual game of the Super Bowl, I thought it was interesting that the Niners kind of played a little like the Seahawks. Started off really slowly and then started to come back. And would you call a holding call on that last pass on that 4th and goal play?
No.
No, you would not.
Well, the referees actually made one thing very, very clear from word go. We're going to let you play. And for the Super Bowl, I think there was only like 6 penalties called the entire game.
Yeah, but I can see it going either way.
Oh yeah, it was. There was you could have called
holding.
You could have called holding. You also could have called the pass interference as well. Both basically what it came down to is both players were jostling. I mean,
right.
And also at that particular point in the game, I don't blame the referees for swallowing the whistle. I don't blame them.
Well, I'm glad you don't, because what was funny, and I think you'll appreciate this. So somebody posted on Facebook, one of those pictures where you can put captions on.
Yeah, the memes.
Yeah, and they had a picture of Matt Hasselbeck in a Super Bowl 40 jersey saying, "The Niners think the refs cost them the Super Bowl, ... and the bottom said, "How cute."
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things where it all depends on how the referees run the game. And they obviously, the head referee talks to the captains on the team and say, hey, listen, we're going to call this, and this. We're going to yada, yada, yada. They probably do that for every game. And I'm sure they came to the captains and said, hey, this is the Super Bowl. No one is paying me. The people didn't pay to watch me call penalties. Mm-hmm. They came here to watch both teams play. We're going to go out there. We're going to let you play. Unless it's blatant, we're not going to call anything.
The only problem I had with the Super Bowl this year, I was rooting for the Ravens, obviously Seahawks fan, is, Joe Flacco, he played really well, didn't throw an entire touchdown, I thought his MVP award was, it kind of felt like the Conn Smythe Trophy in NHL where, no, it did, because they kept pointing out he didn't throw an interception, he played really well, and he also played well in this game as well.
Definitely.
But the thing that I thought was not necessarily a slap in the face, I just thought Jacoby Jones.
I thought Jacoby Jones played amazing.
Yeah, I thought
that catch he made going toward the end zone. He had enough sense about him to get up, make a dynamite crossover juke, and still get into the end zone. Plus that
108 kick return.
They call it 109. They're like, no, it's 108. I'm like, well, whatever.
Still, it was a.
And he ran straight up the middle. He didn't go anywhere. Like he took a juke going into the pile. He found the hole and just went for it. And I think that was, I said, if the quarterback's not the MVP, I think they have to give it to him because from an all-purpose standpoint, he was the primary reason why they were stomping people.
Right, and he also did well with now granted that unfortunately was his only reception. But it just seemed that he always had that presence, and he was always showing up in that in the special teams category. I mean, you could see him kind of blocking a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's just because those 2 plays that he had were so epic that I would think that he should be the MVP.
Yeah.
But I mean,
that's just the way it works sometimes. So, and when all else fails, who are you gonna give it to? into the quarterback.
True, unless you're Warren Sapp. Sorry.
Hey, you know, that's the way it is sometimes.
Yeah. So champs for next year.
it's I think personally for me it's too early. I have to, but if I have to make a prediction right now, and obviously being able to change my mind, I still don't know.
I would go with the Ravens to repeat, and it's not because they're the defending champs and the whole saying, in order to be the champ, you have to beat the champ.
Yeah.
It's just they're losing Ray Lewis, but they still have a lot of that. And I use that same reason for the Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
My counter to that, to all the people who are remembering that and laughing at me right now, the difference between the Ravens and my Eagles prediction, the Ravens won.
Yes.
And they're still, the young guys are still there. In fact, there's this guy online, his name is Joe, and his channel on YouTube is Be More Ravens online, 1, 2, 3. He's kind of been suspended on YouTube a bunch of times, so he just keeps adding the number.
Yeah.
But he brought in his celebration video that a lot of these guys are still relatively young, Torrey Smith being one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And so you got that unit. And so they finally got over the hump. So now they know what it takes to win the Super Bowl compared to just getting to the playoffs and just surviving Pittsburgh and surviving the NFC North. AFC North, excuse me. So I will pick them as of right now as to defend their championship. But as again, my pick may change as the season.
Well, yeah, of course. Well, then if I have to make a pick, you know what? I'm going to actually give the nod to the 49ers. I am. I think Colin Kaepernick will have a complete full season to be able, because he can run
a full season of Kaepernicking.
Whatever. I think it's funny. Quarterbacks are allowed to celebrate.
My only problem,
we had the discount double check, before.
Here's my only problem about Kaepernicking or Felixing or Tebowing. It's just I feel like it started with Tebow. And when it started with Tebow, okay, yeah, it made sense. He was praying though. That's the whole thing. Like that's how he prays. Okay, but then I just felt it just kind of
people have been doing that pose for years.
Yeah, but it just felt like it just kind of got out of hand.
Well, because it's Tim Tebow.
No. I'm not just talking about Tim Tebowing. I'm talking Colin.
The
whole pointing to the. And I know this has been going on for years. I mean, but at the same time, it's like, why are you adding an ing after everybody's first name?
It's just a new trend. That's all.
All right. So I'll deal with it.
Yep. Now, because we are done with said Super Bowl talk, that marks the end of Armchair Athlete. I'm Deshaun Halley. And
been a pleasure.
Been a pleasure, man. Until next
time. Next year.
All right, buddy. See ya.